still a young pup.
Oh yeah. It looked like I was having fun, right? Oh yeah, I was having fun out there. You know, if I could play every night, I love it. But you know, if I got to get out because I need a break or something, I know the next guy will come and step up for me.
Well, Dave, it just seems like there was something different about Jalen Carter, I think, this offseason. He sounds more confident, and it's not a boisterous, arrogant thing. He's just saying, yeah, I think I can be the best at my position. And when you look at these numbers, why not?
He's not far. I mean, from the moment this guy stepped in the league, there was something different about him. I remember when he was a rookie, he gets to camp, and all these veterans are already like, oh, there's something different about this guy. He has the potential to be a great player, and now he's starting to realize that potential. He talked about it earlier this week. There are still things he can improve in his game, but there's no reason to think he won't continue to make these strides that he's already made in these first 2 years. I think it was really telling last season. The NFLPA comes out with their annual All-Pro team. He didn't make the AP team, but he was on the NFLPA team, which is voted on by players at their positions and at the offensive line where they face Jalen Carter. So they know how good he is. He gets double-teamed a ton. About 50% of the time in the playoffs, he got double-teamed. So the opposing teams, they know how good he is, and he's still getting stats on top of that. I think the next level for him is to figure out how to constantly and consistently beat those double teams. That can take a little bit of time, but I've already been impressed by him. He doesn't get frustrated by it, which is something you see sometimes when a young player finds success and then they get all this extra attention. It can be frustrating. You're used to getting after the quarterback all the time, but what he was able to do last year freed up his teammates a lot too.
Right, it's very clear he's already getting the respect around the league, and rightfully so. And you think when you look at his snaps of last season, the amount of double teams he's getting, you heard Vic Fangio say he's a young pup. He's not worried about his snap count. But you got to think at some point, and maybe it's not this year, but the following years, that you're going to start thinking, this guy's getting a lot of snaps.
Yeah, down the line, and that's the interesting thing. Vic Fangio likes to play his top guys an awful lot, and that hadn't been the Eagles' MO before that. They were always a heavy rotation team. You think about last year, Jalen Carter played over 1,000 snaps between the playoffs and the regular season, more than Fletcher Cox ever played in a single season during his long career here in Philadelphia. So things have changed a little bit with Vic in charge. The good news is he's still really young, Jalen Carter. He eventually you worry about it. I don't think you worry about it right now. He's your best option. You play him a ton.
Yes, and another young pup, Cooper DeJean, will make the Pro Bowl this season. That's our second stance. Last season, he had entered the lineup, and things totally turned around for this Eagles defense. Now you got to wonder, do you expect him to take an even bigger step in year two where he better understands this Vic Fangio scheme?
Yeah, and especially for a guy who plays in the middle of the defense like Cooper DeJean, well, still most of the time as the nickel, that's important. And it's not just another year in the defense, but it's another year with guys like Zach Vaughn in the middle of this defense. And they were already so good at like passing off zone coverages and doing all those little things that you would think are going to take a lot of time. But I think there are levels to figuring out how to play in this defense, and DeJean's going to be able to do that. And look, there has been some kind of a stigma about playing the nickel position in the NFL because it's not quote-unquote a full-time position. Well, that kind of gets wiped away this year. If he's out there as a cornerback or a safety in the base package, that'll be about 15% of his snaps, most of them still coming inside as a nickel defender. He's going to not leave the field. He's got to get some more stats. He needs the interceptions if you're going to make the Pro Bowl as a defensive back, and he got a big one at the most important moment of the season.
That should count for two.
Last year, yeah, it's at least two. If he can get some interceptions during the year, that helps obviously quite a bit.
Right, and I think it's important to note because I think not fans that are confused, but you're seeing a lot on social media, and of course fans aren't out at Eagles practice like we are. There's only a couple of us out there, and you're hearing a lot about Cooper DeJean moving to the outside, that he's going to be an outside cornerback. What you just said, that it's about 14% of the snaps, I think it's very important to note. I think there's this narrative going on that all of a sudden Cooper DeJean is going to be this outside corner all the time, which won't be the case.
Yeah, maybe we need to like update our glossary of terms because when we say base defense, it's not really a base defense. The Eagles and most teams, for the most part, live in their sub packages with extra defensive backs on the field. That's the modern day passing offense. You have to combat that. So for the most part, they're a nickel. Even when they're in dime, like he's going to be out in the field, in the middle of the field as the nickel 85% of the time. It's just a little tiny bit at outside corner or maybe safety like Vic Fangio alluded to.
Right, to keep your best players on the field. It makes all the sense.
And he's certainly one of them.
Yes, he definitely is. And this guy might be as well. Jahad Campbell will start in week one. That's our third stance. Vic Fangio was asked about the rookie's learning curve as he recovers from a shoulder injury and offered some interesting insight. Take a listen.
Well, right now he's working at ILD, because there's a lot more to learn there. So that's where we're starting. He won't hit the practice field until, sometime in August. So we're doing all we can. He's doing all he can in meetings. We're doing all we can with him on the field. I take him to the side and do an individual drill with him that's suited to what he can do right now. So he's working good and trying to pick it up.
Well, you hear Vic Fangio say it right there, inside linebacker, ILB. That is where Jahad Campbell is learning the position right now. Even though we were wondering, is he going to be a pass rusher? Is he going to play outside linebacker? You just hear Vic Fangio, and it seems like, Dave, what's going to happen here, of course, Nakobe Dean injured as well. Whoever comes back first is going to be the starting inside linebacker alongside Zach Bond, and it's going to be most likely Jahad Campbell.
Yeah, just based on what we know about these injuries, and not even talking specifically about these players, but those injuries in general, that torn patellar tendon that Nakobe Dean was recovering from, it's a beast of a recovery. So, yeah, I think we can look at Jahad Campbell and think he'll probably be back before Nakobe, and yeah, he's got a good chance to be the starter. Now, the fallback plan here is Jeremiah Trotter Jr., and I think there is a level of trust between Fangio and Trot because they were together last year and he has that experience. So if for some reason Campbell is not ready, either health-wise or because maybe it takes him a little while learning the playbook, they have a decent option in Trotter, but from what I know about Jahad Campbell, I think he might be their best option week one to get out there on the field.
Agreed. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. right now getting some necessary reps, that's for sure. It's time now for the playbook presented by Supercuts. When we come back, we'll play a game of Believe It or Not, including if there might be some trouble brewing for the Commanders. Plus, I go one-on-one with Ron Jaworski on the outlook for the Eagles and the Birds at a running back off waivers. We got the details. This is Birds Huddle presented by Toyota, official automotive part deal with Pittsburgh yesterday. So believe it or not, Aaron Rodgers will lead the Steelers to the playoffs now that the Steelers have their franchise quarterback.
I'm going not.
I like it.
Yeah, and it's